Welcome to the Film Scoring Tempo Finder iPad app tutorial. This video will be covering the basic features of the app and help you get started. The first thing you'll need to do is create a new project. A project represents the film you are scoring. Each project will consist of multiple cues. These cues are the scenes or portions of a scene that you'll be scoring. To create a project, you'll need to give it a title. Optionally, add the name of the production company associated with the film, as well as the production number. You can also enter any additional comments related to the film project. These fields will be displayed on the music score, which you'll see in a few moments. After you've created a project, you'll want to add some cues. A cue represents a scene you're scoring. Traditionally, cues are named using the film reel mnemonic 1M1, 1M2, etc. Open the project and create a new cue by entering the title and any notes. Now, open the cue and start entering your hit points. You'll be entering the SMPTE timecode hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. It's easiest to use the spacebar on the iPad to separate parts of the timecode. If your hit points are not being provided to you by the music editor from the spotting session, you will probably be getting the SMPTE time values yourself directly from the video. Rather than entering them first in your DAW and duplicating the effort, we recommend that you enter the data directly into Tempo Finder. Later on, you'll see that you can export a MIDI file, which can be used as a template mapping out the entire cue for you. Type in a description of the hit point. Both the time code and the description will be used later on to create markers when you export a MIDI file. More on that later. The importance level, normal or critical, specifies how Tempo Finder determines the best tempo. Normal hits have a more relaxed tolerance than critical hits. With critical hits, your goal is landing on the hit point as close to exact as possible. These tolerance levels are specified in the cue settings section coming up next. You can either press Save and Done to close this dialog, or Save and Add New to continue adding additional hit points. Open the cue settings dialog by tapping the gear icon. Here you will specify the range of tempos to search. We're using the film click-track vocabulary by referencing frames and subframes to define the beats per minute. Choose the SMPTE format that reflects the time code that accompanies the film media you're working with. The default format is 29.97 drop frame. You'll select the nearest note value, either quarter or eighth notes, as the target of what is considered to be a good hit. You can also choose to specify the tolerance level in frames or milliseconds. The tolerance level for early and late hits can be different. The ear is more tolerant of late hits than it is for early hits. If a sound hits before the visual, it seems wrong. But if it hits late, your brain reconciles the connection between the sound and the visual, and it feels acceptable. Tap the search button to begin searching for the best tempo based on the range of tempos you've previously selected. The Tempo Search Results list shows the top 5 results. You can change this number in the Global Settings section. Tempo Finder also incorporates automatic offset shifting. This is where the start of the cue is shifted, usually by just a few milliseconds, either backwards or forward, and searches for the best tempo again. This can sometimes lead to more accurate results. You may not have the luxury of changing the start time, but if you can, you might see a better solution. Select one of the search results to view the score. This is where you'll see exactly where your hit points will sit. Middle C represents normal hit points, whereas the C an octave above middle C in red represents the critical hit points. To change the time signature, touch and hold a measure for a moment. You can change the time signature for just this measure or all measures that follow. By playing around with time signature changes and the alternate search results, you'll be sure to find the best tempo for your cue. Tap the Share button to print the score to any Wi-Fi enabled printer, or choose to export a MIDI file. This MIDI file can be used as a template to map the score in your DAW. The MIDI file contains the tempo you've chosen, all time signature changes, and markers for each hit point at the correct SMPTE time with its description. A single MIDI note will be placed at each hit point so you can test the tempo against picture. A different MIDI note for normal and critical notes may be designated. Global Settings gives you options to select how many search results to display. You can also choose how the search logic handles whether a good hit is more important than an exact hit. Because it's more likely that exact hits will occur less frequently than good hits, these good hits will be scored higher when determining the rating for a tempo. You also have control over the MIDI file by assigning what MIDI notes are used to represent normal and critical notes. Finally, we've provided a sample project to get you started. If you delete this project, you can restore it here. We've provided detailed help in the About section if you need any clarification of any part of the app. We hope you find the Tempo Finder app useful in scoring your next film project.